Yeah. Awesome. I am so excited to be speaking with today Liv and Nathan Harrison, who've been friends of mine for almost 20 years now and are the perfect people to talk about marriage on this podcast. I wanted people that really exude what it means to have a sacramental marriage and to be able to give some advice and help us along the way. So thank you for being here, Liv and Nathan.
Hi. So
Hey, how's it
excited to
going?
be here. Hi, Rhonda.
Hello. So I would love for you to tell us, how did you meet? What was your courtship like?
Well, I first want to let everybody know, even though we are recording from two separate rooms, we are in fact still married. So just want to clear up any rumors. That's anybody that's watching this. Okay. So, but yeah, Nathan and I met when we were 15. I had the youth group over to watch a movie called The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. That's how old this is. And I didn't know him. Another friend brought him. I was angry. I was like, who's this kid? And he was so awful during the film the entire time. He just kept saying things. He was so obnoxious and annoying and very arrogant. And so I, of course, ran and got my mother and said, do you see that guy? And he had a do-rag on his head because he was a big football player at his high school. We didn't go to the same high school. And my mom said, the guy with the handkerchief on his head. And I'm like, Mom, it's a do-rag. It's super cool. And she said yes. And I was like, isn't he cute? So I loved his arrogance. It was so attractive. And then I shut it down as soon as I got him. We took care of that. Not really. He's still, but
It's a good
way.
attractant.
Yeah, it was. But you're better. I mean, you're still arrogant, but I mean, you have friends now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, 25 years of courtship and marriage has taught me to be more humble.
that's right. You softened. So yeah,
Exactly.
So we were best friends starting at 16. I was already in love with him. He was an idiot. And then at 17, he became a genius and he asked me out. We were seniors in high school and we got married 3.5 years later. We were 22. So we were together 5.5 years, waited till marriage, which meaning like we waited to be one in the physical sense, which was a big deal. 5.5 years of dating. What are you supposed to do? So we bowled a lot and we saw a lot of movies, ate out a lot,
Lots of group dates.
lots of group dates.
Fed our feelings. It was great.
Listen, we made mistakes. I'm not going to act like we were like, Snow White walking down the aisle, but we were pretty good. So yeah, got married at 22 and we just celebrated our 20th year of marriage, which is crazy. So there you go.
Crazy and beautiful all at the same time. And Nathan, speaking of the 20th anniversary, because you because of Liv are on social media, like you're kind of dragged along.
I get spotted a lot.
For the ride.
So
I have
that's why
no
I
doubt.
shave my head so I can hide.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. So you can follow Liv at the Liv Harrison, right? At the Liv Harrison.
All the things are the Liv Harrison. Yeah,
exactly. Because let me
Liv
tell you,
Harrison was taken. That's why, not because.
No. See, I've known her for 20 years, and it is literally the Liv Harrison. Like, there's one. Anyway, so Nathan wrote this beautiful tribute on your 20th anniversary on Facebook. And I just thought it was so lovely. And I wanted him to expand upon these two thoughts. First, we'll take one at a time. First, he says, I have one goal as a spouse, to get my wife to heaven. Tell us more.
So it's super easy because Liv's a piece of cake. But for
we all know that's not true.
For all the other people that are married that are trying to do the same thing, I just think that, my mother-in-law, I met, again, very young, but that's one of the things that she taught me really early is that if you have one goal as a spouse, it's to get your spouse to heaven, right? And so I think what that means is that, being married sometimes can be hard, right? It's not always super easy. I think Instagram and Facebook and all these others kind of paint this picture of like, wow, look at this perfect marriage, everything's great. They obviously aren't looking at our Facebook, but other Facebooks that do that, you know. And I think the thing is that sometimes it's a choice, sometimes it's hard. And so getting your spouse to heaven means loving their soul, not just their mind and their body and their heart, but even their soul, and doing things for their soul as a spouse, I think is completely different than just the everyday marriage. And I think that's what makes marriage a vocation, is that you are literally living out your work in your marriage, right? You know, that's ultimately what I think marriage brings to every man or woman. If you ever desire to be humble, get married, right? Because in both cases, you know, a true spouse will bring that humility to you in a loving way. Sometimes a little tougher than others, right? But I mean, I would not be the man I am today without Olivia getting me to heaven. And I think she does that every day. And I think on the same side, I try really hard to help her get there as well. So that's kind of what I was trying to say.
Hard.
And I think that you know, once we're talking about the three vocations, you know, as vocation ministry focuses on priesthood, religious life, and sacramental marriage. And I liken this, that, you know, each one of those that's your pathway to heaven, right? I mean, that's how you're going to become a saint, is through your vocation. And just like you said, if you want to be humble, get married. I have a feeling that a priest and a religious sister would say, you want to get humbled, get married to the church,
Right.
get married to Jesus.
Absolutely.
Look at those
Marriage
sisters, the sisters, they're brides of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
that if something's wrong in the marriage, it's not Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. I can always blame Nathan. He's not perfect. He's a man.
Yes. So I just think that this is, that's when you can tell, like you said, that's when you can tell it's really a vocation. It's going to be hard. I'm really tired of social media, celebrity, and society saying, they get married. Oh, it's so wonderful. I mean, they've known each other for 6 weeks. Yay. Oh, they're divorcing 2 months later. What? Like, and nobody can believe it. What? I'm like,
right.
There was no discernment.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Right?
Why are we shocked? Yeah,
Right.
it's ridiculous. But anyway, so I'm thankful to have this discussion as to the discernment. So what did discernment look like for you to get married? You know, did you really, I don't know, you tell me, what did that look like?
Poor
So
Nathan.
2 weeks, right?
I'm such an overachiever. I signed us up for Engaged Encounter. The current bishop of, where is he? Victoria?
Yep.
Cahill. We knew him when he was a wee lad. He was in his 20s. He was so young and adorable. We were his first assignment. We were teenagers. And so Father Brendan, Bishop Cahill, met with us, and when he would come home from Rome, and I would be like, Father, we need extra things, and he's like, Liv, chill out. And he knew me since I was 15, 16. And so we did Engage Encounter, and I made Father Brendan give us all this extra stuff, and my mother found a book for us, and so we did this book called Before I Do, and we had a sponsor couple, even though we didn't need one, which were my parents. We did all the things. And then when we got married, we went to a marriage encounter 4 months in, and they were like, you guys are like you're still wet from you're as if you were born, as a
Right.
newborn, like a newlywed. They were like, you're still damp. Like, what are you doing? Why are you here? You're so fresh and new. You should just be licking each other all the time. What are we doing? And I said, I don't want to wake up when I'm 40, which is weird since that'll be one day. I don't know when 40 will be here, but it's far, far away. And I don't want to wake up and look at this guy and say, I really wish we would have known a couple of things before we really got into this. So we've always been very proactive. We always did a lot of extra things. So we went to Marriage Encounter right off the bat, and a few times after that, because it's there to help you make a good marriage great. And so I've always been, Nathan as well, we're big researchers. We know people know more than we do. And we read a lot. My father loves the book, His Needs, Her Needs. Read that. We did all sorts of things. So it was always from the beginning of our courtship, and continues.
But in fairness, I said 2 weeks because 2 weeks after we dated in high school, I told Olivia I was going to marry her. So I didn't really discern Really, Olivia was discerning for the next 4 years and like 5 months or something. I was set right away.
I wanted a prom date. I was like, are you going to be around for prom? And he was like, yeah. So I just told you you're going to be my wife. And I was like, right. Okay. But May, what are you doing? And he was like, yeah, I'll be there. I was like, great.
So it didn't take much time to figure out, like when you actually when you were going to propose to her, like when you're figuring that out, are you doing anything in particular, Nathan, that you would advise?
Do you remember how I said that marriage is humbling, you know? So pretty much like, so we were like the first in everything, right? So like we met early and I was such an idiot. Like I was so excited to marry Olivia. And like, I remember we were, you know, but because I didn't have a lot of guidance, you know, and I mean, I love my mom and dad, but my mom and dad got married pretty young, and Tom and Vicky got married very young. And we hadn't had all these friends who like, you know, went to the Sistine Chapel and proposed because that's where they had first seen Jesus, or like, you know, and so I got a ring that Olivia gave me and got it engraved, and like it wasn't a diamond, and like
it was James
horrible,
Avery.
but yeah, and
I had bought it.
But here's the thing about me, like I'm very simple. Like I am like, you know, like in that scene of The Last Crusade where they pick the cup and Jesus' cup is really simple and all the gold is all. I'm like the simple cup, right, in everything, which is not romantic, but I'm extremely steadfast. I'm like a mule, very dependable. You can throw stuff on my back. But I would redo our engagement.
He decides. Yeah.
Yeah, I would redo our engagement 100 times the moment, because I didn't do it well, you know.
And he's heard about it for the last 25 years or however long. Yeah, like he's like.
Occasionally she doesn't bring it up, but you know, in fairness, our children will have much better preparation for that event.
That is true.
You also said in your letter to Liv, you said that on this anniversary, I am proud to say that our wedding day was truly the day I loved you the least.
Yep.
I would love to hear more about that. Yes.
Yeah. So my best man in our wedding was my brother, but he was like, what, 16 at the time? I mean, I don't know. Yeah.
Might as well be 7. I don't know. He was.
Yeah. I mean, although he was dating his soon-to-be wife, and he now has almost 8 kids. So, you know, he figured it out too. But my best man was my best friend, and well, Jacob, and then my best friend Chris was my real best man, kind of. And he gave a toast and basically said, "May today be the day that you love each other the least." And it threw me back a little bit, like, what do you mean? But the whole idea is that in actuality, this isn't the end; it's the beginning. And I really believe that something I would say is, I should love Olivia less yesterday than I do today, and more tomorrow. You know, I should definitely be loving her more the next day, because I mean, marriage is a choice. Love is a choice. Choosing to love, you know, you hear those statements a lot, but I can honestly say that I know everything about Olivia, good and bad, and I love her for all of the imperfections along with the perfections. And I think that's where love is different, right? It's really easy to be in love with a hot 22-year-old, you know, who doesn't make mistakes, who you've waited for marriage and all the other stuff. 2 years down the road with the mistakes she's made, or, you know, we've got countless stories of mistakes that I've made or Olivia's made that we both forgive each other for. And I think we can both honestly say that we love each other significantly more than we did June 17th, 2000, you know. And I think, honestly, hopefully 45 to 50 years from now, you know, when probably one of us isn't here, that person that's remaining will have loved that person more that day than they do today by a lot. So
that's beautiful.
I know I will.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
I should marry that guy.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, Liv, you had your own lead up to your 20th anniversary on Instagram.
Yeah.
Which you're a prolific Instagrammer. Very good. I thought, like, is there an Instagram blogger? Like, is it like an Insta blogger? Is that what you would, I would call you?
Yeah,
Like,
I do. I do hashtag Instagram blogger. And so, yeah, often because
because
I'll write there a lot. Yeah.
yeah,
I'll put down
you're
my
not
heart.
going to be the pithy, like one sentence.
Yeah. Rarely.
Yeah. You're like,
Yeah.
I've got something to say.
I've got something to say.
I want to teach you something. And so before your 20th anniversary, all leading up to that on Instagram, and if somebody wanted to find that, they could go back and find those posts.
Yes.
You posted daily about a tip a day to
Mhm.
keep your marriage strong.
Mhm.
So tell us about one or two of those that you
Yeah.
felt like were really helpful, either to your marriage or that other people really responded to.
Yeah, I think, Nathan, I've done this work for a long time, and I hate when people tell me to do things, especially in marriage, when they're like, oh, you guys should go and like love each other. And you're like, oh, okay, thanks. I'll write that down. Like, what the heck does that look like? As you're breastfeeding 4 people and trying to cook and your husband lost his job or whatever. So I really like practical tips, and some of my favorites I tried to get down. And they're under a highlight on my page, so you can find them easily. But one that I really love is, we all have these wonderful phones that do all these wonderful things. I mean, our phones are more powerful than the first computers. You know what I mean? So it's like crazy amounts of power. So instead of being mad at technology all the time, which I'm always like, technology is the worst, but it's really fantastic for good things like prayer and information and resources. I found if I set my phone, because it has this thing called timers. I know type A people know what these are. And a clock, people who like care about being on time. This is shocking to me, very type B. Really, I'm type Z, but anyway, and you can set it for certain times. So I would set it for a time for me to pray for Nathan. And I didn't tell him. And there's this number that we use in our marriage, 143, because there's 1 letter in I, 4 letters in love, 3 letters in you. And my mother used it like going to the grocery store, 143 mom, or put away your clothes, 143 mom, whatever. So I used it with Nathan. Nathan used it in our marriage. That's what he engraved on that James Avery ring that I bought, was 143. I'm like, that doesn't count your $8 proposal, but whatever, we're fine. And so I put it to
He's not bitter
140.
at all.
I'm not bitter at all. There's a big diamond in my future, Rhonda. I feel it. I'm just kidding. I'd marry this man no matter what. So I already did. So 1:43 in the afternoon, I'm in Vail, Colorado with my husband for my 40th. See, I already lied. I told you guys I wasn't 40. I am. It's shocking. And obviously this was last weekend. And and we were walking in the mountains, and both of our phones go off at 1:43 p.m. in the afternoon. And I take out my phone, and mine says, pray for your beloved spouse. And his says something like, pray for Olivia. And I looked at him and I go, do you pray for me every day at 1:43 in the afternoon? And he goes, yeah. And I was like, oh, I pray for you at 1:43. And we've been doing it for, I don't know. I mean, who knows how long without the other one knowing. And I thought that was super cool. So people have actually taken that tip. I've used it before, and they apply it to not only their marriage, but they'll do it for their children on their children's birthdays. Like they'll use that date as a time, or their anniversary as a time, whatever. You can pick a different time. So I love that tip. I think that's super cool. I think another great tip is on discussion, because I am the complete and total opposite of Nathan. Not kind of, sort of, little, like 100% the opposite of this man. And
really, we should be in different rooms, because I'm more like the brown white door,
know,
and you're
this
more
is
like the
you.
splatter paint with like happy and things in the background, and like, yeah. So I don't know what happens, but go ahead.
It's true. Yeah, our whole lives, everything. So because of that, it's made life very exciting, which is what I would bring. And then it also makes it difficult, which is poor Nathan. He's a saint. So because I'm always having big ideas about everything, which could be like dinner, like could be how we do the laundry, it could be anything we do, he has to temper me. And he's like, okay, that's great. But like on a scale of 1 to 10, how important is this to you, Liv? And it can't be a 10. Like, not everything is a hot air balloon flying to the Pope's house. So I need you to figure it out. And with Nathan, I can't have it be a negative 4,000. I'm like, dude, you've got to buy into life. Like, if you've got to act like you're happy on the planet. We're having a baby tomorrow. Act like you're excited about it. Like, I would make him practice before I would say I'm pregnant. I made him practice when we were 20 years old. I would be like, pop out, and I'd be like, I'm pregnant. And we weren't even married. I'm like, I'm pregnant. Nathan, act excited. Like, I would make him practice. So we came up with a system, scale 1 to 10. And we use it all the time because it's to really check in. All right, for real, how excited am I about pizza tonight? Or something really major. How much do I really want an expedition? So whatever, and that way we kind of check in, and it kind of helps kind of gauge. And then you can really see a place to sacrifice for your spouse. Because if they're an 8 and you're a 3, you're like, all right, fine, we'll get an expedition. I didn't really want a Volvo. I don't know. I'm making up words. So, that's kind of what we do to help bring us together in a space.
Which is good, because marriage is all about compromise.
Yes. But it can be hard for others. Some people are really good at that.
Yeah, of course. I mean,
I haven't met them, but
I don't know that it's really easy for anyone. I mean, I don't know. But anyway, I mean, I think that it's good to start off, especially those who are engaged, to hear these good tips so that they can start off well.
Yeah.
I mean, you can put these into practice wherever you are in your marriage, for sure, and it will be fruitful. But I love the fact that people can start off well and see the fruits of that, putting that extra effort into praying for your spouse, or compromising where needed. So important. So, the Liv Harrison, tell us where we can find you. If somebody, I know everybody on here is going to want to know how to follow you.
Or they might be like, or how not to. They're like, no, yeah. Instagram is where I post a lot. That's kind of my main source, but it's also connected to my Facebook. And both of those are The Liv Harrison. My website is thelivharrison.com. I have a brand new newsletter that's really exciting. So people can get that from there. They can sign up and subscribe, and they can check me out. I'm a speaker and an MC. I also have my own podcast, and that is called Talk to Me with Liv Harrison. And you can find me in all the podcast places. And I talk about it on my Instagram, so it's easily found there. It's in my bio, so that's a good place. So I would think that that's kind of most. I got some other things in the oven, but that's the main stuff. So if you want to connect with me there, and you can always email me, liv@thelivharrison.com. You'll be good.
And we'll see Nathan through you and all that you're doing.
He has no say in it. Yes.
He'll be along for the ride.
He has been since we were 15.
For 20 years.
He's a saint.
Well, thank you so much for being on and sharing this wisdom and your joy of being married. I love the fact that there's a lot of laughter whenever
There better be.
There's got to be, right? We got to have a sense of humor here, and everybody should know that if you're going to be married to somebody and be around them 24/7, especially when there's a pandemic and you can't leave, that there better be a sense of humor.
Amen. You better like that person. Absolutely. Also, you can make those people. So I always say that to people when they're getting married. I'm like, you better really like your spouse, because you might make a kid that looks just like it or acts just like him. So, make sure you like your spouse. Amen. But yes, you've got to have fun and have fun together, you guys. Marriage is not a chore. It is a blessing.
Yeah.
So
no, and I think like any good thing, marriage is a career, not a job, right? When you have a career or something you follow, you love it. You don't ever want to quit. I don't ever want to retire from my job, quote unquote, because my career that I have is awesome, right? If you think of marriage as a chore, even the work, it shouldn't be. I mean, you're going to work, but
it can be fun.
It can be a lot of fun, and even the challenges.
Yeah.
So.
If it's something you care about, you will work for it.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly right.
And again, I reiterate that the fact that you said earlier that love is a choice. It's a decision we make each and every day to wake up and serve each other, and however we can, and to get each other to heaven. So thank you so much again, and God bless you.
Thank you for your work.
Thank you for having me.
Bye, everybody.